Okay, welcome back to my channel. I'm Stasia Bliss, where we talk about all things Kundalini awakenings and life force management. First of all, thank you so much for being here. I welcome you. I hope that you find supportive tools here for you. I know this is the kind of information I was looking for decades ago when I was first going through awakening processes. So I'm making this for you to support you in your journey so you feel more supported. I know there are resources out there, books and articles and so forth, but sometimes that's really hard to find. So I'm trying to make this channel accessible to you. So if you have any suggestions of how to do that better, please let me know. There are categories of different yoga and meditation tools, breathing techniques, lots of other things that I do and use, readings on particularly potent times of the year, especially when I feel like the cosmic chakras are opening and so forth. So I hope you find this helpful. Today, I wanted to discuss how long am I going to be in this awakening process? That's a question I recently got, or at least how long is this intense part, right? Okay, so I had this comment on a video the other day about exhaustion, and I just wanted to address it more directly. I do have other videos on this, but again, like I said, they could be buried. There is a whole series on the biology of Kundalini by Jana Dixon, an awesome textbook. But again, if you're experiencing what she refers to as an inner conjunction, which is a really like heightened experience of the Kundalini, that could be a difficult time to like find yourself reading. Okay, let's just be real. So, okay, let's just sum it up. A first time awakening. Pew! It kicks off. You have a kick in the butt. You might feel like you're burning up. You might feel like your spine's on fire. You might feel like your nervous system's on fire. You might have like lots of amazing like headspace, but your body's not feeling great. You might feel like you're hearing everybody's thoughts, you're feeling everybody's feelings, you're really blown open. Okay, this is a lot of what I was experiencing at the beginning. Generally, this is about a 6-month period if you don't know what's going on. Okay, I know that sounds like a lot, but 6 months. But Kundalini doesn't just work in one spurt. And I can't say that this is the amount of time for everyone because it's going to vary on you. There's some factors to consider, okay? Number one, how much do you, number one, trust the process and know what's going on? So your education is going to be paramount. Number two, how mineralized and nourished is your body, okay? So during an inner conjunction or during a Kundalini awakening, your body is going through a massive biological transformation. This is part of your maturation process. It is physical and physiological as much as it is spiritual. So it takes a lot of nutrients from your system to expand your ability to hold more light, more information, more wisdom, basically higher levels of awareness, okay? So if you're not mineralized and nourished, and by that I mean vitamins and minerals especially, I think I'm going to do a video on specific supplements that have helped me. Give me a thumbs up or a comment yes if you think that would be helpful. I have some great products that I've used over the years. So if you're not getting all the nutrients you need, that can also make it worse. Yes, it can. And number three, what practices are you doing to support this? Okay, so that's why there's ashrams in India. It's just a place where you don't have to do your regular day-to-day stuff. I know a lot of people can't just up and go to an ashram, but that's literally why they were created, is for Kundalini awakenings. And thankfully, some of my main awakening times were spent in India. I did have a massive awakening in 2002 that I was able to spend the 6 months with a tantric master on the beach and go in India learning Kundalini yoga and all the techniques that supported my awakening. So I really was blessed in that. That wasn't my first awakening, but it was probably my most intense. But it's hard to juxtapose it a little bit because I was so supported. I was walking barefoot on the beach. I was sun gazing every day. I was practicing not only Kundalini yoga, but Tai Chi. I was swimming in the ocean. I was mud bathing up in the forest. I mean, I really had like a supreme time to awaken, but my whole faculties were blown open. I was writing poetry like spontaneously, amazingly. I was running down the beach with my eyes closed. I was having like amazing tantric sex at the time. I mean, just it was an incredible experience for me. That was not, as I said, my first awakening, but it was one of my most intense experiences. But I had a lot of balance during that time. Okay. My first initial experience of awakening, I was not prepared for at all. And it was extremely jolting to my body, extremely painful to my system. I had a lot of spinal injuries preceding that time. So I did take my attention to my spine a lot before this happened, which probably did serve me, but I didn't really know what to do with it. So it took me a lot of research and reading and seeking to find the practices that would help me and alleviate. And okay, so 6 months, right? So for the beginning conjunction, you can reduce that with proper care and practices. So yoga practices, like I was mentioning, mantra is really helpful. And if you don't know mantra, I mean, I didn't when I started. The first time I ever chanted mantra was at yoga school in India, and a huge crowd of yoga students and other vinyasa, I don't know, what do they call them? Sannyasins that wear their robes and they've dedicated their life and they've shaved their head, a whole group of these people. And at first I was kind of like, oh my gosh, am I in a cult? Like, what's going on? But as I allowed the mantra practice in and I started to work with it, then I realized how purifying it really was to my body, how aligning it was, how nourishing. And it really does like vibrate your body into a state of resonance. So I do have a course on that, Make Mantra Your Medicine. So if you're interested in that, send me an email. I've got an email address below. Or you can just simply start with the mantra Om. Om, 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 Om. It's such a powerful sound, you guys, and it really focuses on awakening Anya chakra, the third eye, which I've mentioned in other videos, but is so important for your awakening process because it allows you to be the witness. I can't emphasize enough how important this is, because the difference in your awakening process between being the witness of your process and not is exponential. It's huge. Imagine you being in it, sunk down in it, like experiencing the craziness of it, all the emotions, all the up, down, all the fire and everything, without any ability to detach from it and watch yourself, versus still feeling it, but being able to have a part of your perspective outside of you watching the process. That's what being the witness, drashta, opening the third eye, does for your process. It's huge. It's so big. So oming can really help that. Yoga Nidra is extremely helpful as it helps you cultivate, number one, pratyahar, withdrawal of the senses. So withdrawal of the senses into your inner space. This is a place that really needs your attention when you're going through the awakening. And if you haven't done any earlier meditation practices or anything, it can be really hard to battle with the discomfort of the physical and try to go in. But that's really what the discomfort is trying to push you into, is pushing you into the inner state. So Yoga Nidra can be really helpful. I mean, breathing practices, hugely important. Nadi Shodan, I have a whole video on this earlier in this channel, but I think it's one of my more popular videos, excuse me, but so it should be easy to find. I have a green shirt on, Nadi Shodan. But if you're experiencing a lot of heat, then cooling breath practices where you're just breathing in through your teeth, can be really cooling to your body. And there's other practices, like if you have the genetic ability to curl your tongue, breathe in through those two cooling practices, or you can just breathe in through Ida Nadi, which is your left nostril, to try to get the cool breath, the cool air going on, okay? And that can calm down the heating. Though Kundalini is this rushing of Ida and Pingala, so your heating and cooling is going on back and forth, back and forth. That's why I really recommend the Nadi Shodan, but if you're super overheated, you can just do the Ida, just your left nostril. Okay, so 6 months can be reduced by these practices of, first of all, knowing what's going on, trusting the process. Number 2, mineralizing and nourishing yourself. Number 3, yogic practices like the ones I've mentioned. Of course, going to yoga classes can be good. A lot of classes have gone to more like very muscle strengthening and so forth, but the postures themselves are still really great for channeling your life force energy. So find a class that you like. Or again, just practice at home. I've got lots of videos. There's a whole Kundalini yoga series in one of my playlists where you can just do like an hour and a half of Kundalini yoga with me. It's free on this channel, so check it out. And we do some breathing practices and open up the channels and so forth. Okay, so let's look in a bigger perspective. So Kundalini goes in cycles, and you could look at it in like sevens. I said 6 months, but it can really be 6, 7 months, 6, 7 years, 6, 7 days. These 6, 7 cycles, it's a healing spiral, right? So you could have your first awakening period be like 6, 7 years, right? That doesn't mean the extremity is the whole time. The first 6, 7 months may be like the strongest, and then you may hit like a die-off period. That's mostly what happens after you have this big increase. You hit the bottom. This is where a lot of people get depressed and start feeling like they lost all the spiritual connection that they had, but this is a normal part of integration. Really important to nourish yourself during this time and recognize that your brain is sloughing off all the old neural pathways that had to do with the way you believed and saw reality before. That's all being changed out. Your body's trying to integrate. This is why I talked about exhaustion and honoring it the other day, because sometimes we just need to integrate. What does that mean? It means we got more information and our body can't process it, so we need downtime. It's like working without sleeping, and then just needing to sleep for like 3 days. Your body's working with the Kundalini awakening. It's processing massive amounts of light and information from the sun, from your DNA unraveling, from just the collective awareness that's been cast upon us as we get to see more and more about the truth of reality. So we're trying to expand our mental capacity to take all this in, right? So our brain is trying to open up dormant areas, and then our body has to follow suit. Our body needs to also upgrade, which really means it needs to fortify itself. So your mylar sheath around your nerves, that's a huge thing that changes in the awakening, because as we get massive jolts of higher light code frequencies or life force, God force, higher, more energy to our system, more of the force of life and consciousness, we process that physically in our nervous system. So what you were processing before awakening, your nervous system didn't have quite as big of a task as it does with this process. So this heat, this shock, this way that you feel is triggering your nervous system to make more protection for it, so it can handle the voltage, right? Can handle more of this energy coming in and stepping down into your system. So this can also kind of tax the endocrine glands, because they are part of the step down of this higher spiritual energy into your body. So you can feel adrenal fatigue, you can feel like The other glands are taxed. You might have your immune system feeling like it's going down, throat stuff coming up. So I have mentioned some things that I use in the past, which I do want to do in the supplement video. But again, I'm not a medical practitioner. I am not recommending this from any place other than a spiritual practitioner who's recommending as an energetic support based on my own experience. So please, if you have things you need to visit a medical professional for, this is not medical advice. But with that disclaimer being said, maca is a really great herb for balancing the endocrine glands. Probably one of the best that I've found in, a good amount per day to nourish all the glands. It's a great supplement. Also, raw cacao is one of the more mineralizing, and I mean raw. It can't be cooked or roasted. So raw cacao has all the minerals. It's a really like your best source of magnesium on the planet if it's raw. Cutting out things that deplete your body of minerals, so white sugars, white flours, white pastas, those have a leaching effect on these minerals. And also dairy products. I go back and forth on this. I love certain dairy products, but during an inner conjunction, I might back off of those and go to like a nut milk, because it does take some minerals and leaching of certain nutrients for your body to process dairy products. So if you want more information about that, John Robbins' Diet for New America, he talks about that. I mean, I was vegan for years. I don't recommend it for myself. It just didn't suit me right. I do need a specific amount of animal proteins and so forth at certain times for my body type. You might be different, but I'm just speaking specifically about what happens during an inner conjunction or a massive awakening spurt. So other things that I would suggest: self-care. And you might not be able to avoid it. You might have to be in bed, but I would definitely recommend, if you can, get massages, get acupuncture, take bubble baths with Epsom salts, do reflexology on yourself, or get somebody to do it for you. I work the emotion code and the body code, and I also do other subconscious mind decluttering. This can be really helpful because as Kundalini is awakening, it's throwing stuff off out of all the chakras. This can also lengthen the time period, the time it takes for you to emotionally deal with everything that's coming up out of your center. So I like to go in and do some release work on that, kind of ease it up, make it flow a little bit better, because honestly, some of it is ancestral or past life. That's a heavy load to also be dealing with. So the quicker to get through some of that stuff, honestly, is better. I also do DNA upgrade work. That sounds like maybe you don't know how to access what that sounds like, but it's really just like learning commands to talk to your body and talk to your DNA so that you can access the codes of remembrance. I use Kishori Aird's work on that. It's phenomenal. It's really like catapulted me forward. So if I can support you with any of this stuff, please let me know. Readings can be really helpful too, because if you can see where you're at in your process, oracle reading can be really helpful. I also do that. Looking at your cardology is also interesting, because you can see like where the intense moments of the year are and how your spirit has lined you up to work with this energy. So that can be helpful. Looking at your astrology chart can be helpful to determine, what's going to best support you in your process. So there's a lot of factors. It's hard to just say this, this, and this, but if I had to pick 3 things, it's your ability to trust and surrender and educate yourself on this process. It is a process that we're not taught about in school. So there is a process that's going on. I'm trying to do my best to educate you guys on this channel. So please watch my videos, reap the rewards of all the decades of information that I have available to you there and all the study that I've done. Please take advantage of that, because I didn't just do it for me. And then again, practices, mantra, yoga nidra, and nourishment. Mineralize, vitamins and minerals, proteins. Be vitamins, guys, be vitamins. Your body's stressing out. Okay, I'm going to leave it here at about 20 minutes. So if I can answer any further questions for you, please leave it on a comment below, or you can send me an email or go to my website if you'd like to work with me and book a session. Okay, thank you so much for being here. It is my honor to serve you. Again, take whatever resonate with you and toss the rest away. This is, in service to you through my experiences. And that is all. Okay. Namaste. I love you. See you next time.